Hey there, careblazer. Welcome back. In today's video, I want to talk about why dementia is so hard to treat. This is so frustrating, right? In this day and age, with all the advancements in medical care, why in the world is there no cure for dementia? And even the medications that are approved for dementia, in many cases, don't seem to do much help at all. So this is the third video in a series of videos that I've done on the book, The Alzheimer's Solution, written by a husband and wife neurology team, Dr. Sherzai and Sherzai. The book is linked below this video if you want to check it out for yourself. I personally checked it out for my local library, but if you want to buy it, there's a link below. And I think they did a wonderful job of really breaking down and talking about why there will never be just one medication or one simple approach to cure or take care of dementia. And so I want to share those reasons with you today in this video. Also, real quick before I get started, I have finally released the specific dates for my next live upcoming care class series. I do this several times a year. It's really fun. I offer a live question and answer session so you can come on board and ask me whatever questions you have about dementia. It's totally free, and there's a link below this video that you can click on to save your spot. This particular live care class is on specific ways, 3 specific ways you can lower your dementia caregiver stress without needing any extra time, money, or hired help. And if you watched my video a couple weeks ago about how you are at increased risk for dementia, partly because of all of the extra stress and strain that being a caregiver for somebody with dementia causes, then this is definitely a live care class you don't want to miss. I hope you will be there. Click on the link below this video. All right, now let's get started and talk about why in the world dementia is so hard to treat. In particular, we're going to talk about Alzheimer's disease. To put it simply, dementia and Alzheimer's disease in particular is so hard to treat because it's caused by more than just one thing. It's caused by multiple things. So it's not just going to be one medication that can treat all cases of Alzheimer's disease. It's not just going to be one approach to take care of all cases of Alzheimer's disease. It's going to take a more holistic approach. Alzheimer's disease is much more complicated than most healthcare providers, family members, and pharmaceutical companies would like to admit. Before I get into the specific details, let's talk about some of the basics. So Alzheimer's disease is basically due to a combination of things, right? It could be due to advanced age, the older you are, your genetic profile, and lifestyle choices. The older you are, the higher your risk of getting the disease. Depending on your genetic profile, you could be at higher risk for getting the disease. In next week's video, I'll be talking about genetic testing and specific genes in particular for Alzheimer's disease. And then certain lifestyle choices put you at higher risk for getting the disease. So your advanced age, your genetic profile, and lifestyle choices. Of all those 3 options, there's only one that you can do anything about, right? You can't do anything about how old you are or how old your loved one is. You can't do anything about the genes that you have, but you can do a whole awful lot about your lifestyle choices. Lifestyle choices is a pretty broad category, right? It can encompass a bunch of different things. So I want to share with you the 4 main pathways that Dr. Sherzai and Dr. Sherzai talk about as the main culprits of Alzheimer's disease and other dementias. The first one is chronic inflammation. Inflammation is a normal process of the immune system. It helps fight bacteria and viruses. For example, if you cut your finger, the redness and swelling that you see in your finger, it's a natural and a healthy response to help the healing process. But chronic inflammation is not a good thing. This happens when the inflammatory response is activated for a long term due to constant irritants. And the most common irritants include high sugar diets, ongoing stress, and other unhealthy lifestyle choices. This is very destructive. Chronic inflammation causes tissues to be damaged, and the body actually starts to attack itself. You can see the evidence of chronic inflammation in the brains of people with Alzheimer's disease. The second common pathway is oxidation. Oxidation is a process that happens when oxygen reacts with other substances, and as a result, it changes the substance. So for example, if you cut open an apple and leave it out on your counter for an hour, it's going to start to turn brown. That's an example of oxidation. This is the same chemical reaction that happens in our bodies. Because our brains are the hardest working organ, it uses 25% of the body's oxygen. As a result, the brain is especially sensitive to this oxidation process. And oxidation in our bodies creates something called free radicals. And free radicals are highly reactive, and they can cause damage to the brain. The brain has special cells and molecules that help break down and neutralize free radicals. But these cells and molecules are damaged over time, and they can be damaged by things like poor diet, lack of exercise, chronic stress, lack of quality sleep, and the aging process. The third main pathway is glucose dysregulation. We have a system in our body that helps us maintain our glucose levels, our blood sugar levels in the body. As we age, the system starts to decline, especially if the foods we eat are high in sugar and refined carbs. When the body isn't producing and using glucose properly, it starts to harm the pancreas, our hormones, and our enzymes. And because glucose is a major source of energy for the entire body, it starts to harm our brains. You may remember the headlines about 2 years ago about dementia being a type of diabetes. What the research was getting at is that the role glucose plays in brain health. When glucose is not optimal in our brains are not functioning optimally. We're putting ourselves at risk for insulin resistance, which places us at high risk for getting cognitive decline and dementia. Finally, the fourth main pathway leading to Alzheimer's disease is lipid dysregulation. Lipids are fat-like substances that create the foundation of cell walls, hormones, steroids, and are important to basically all of our life-sustaining functions. Lipids are located all throughout our bodies, and they make up more than 50% of the brain's dry weight. Lipids become out of whack when the body is exposed to excess lipids, inflammation, oxidative damage, and other forms of stress. Cholesterol, which we're all familiar with, is a type of lipid, and during times of stress, it can lead to plaques and clogged arteries, which cuts off our blood supply to our small vessels. This causes something called microvascular disease, and eventually this can lead to some large blood vessel damage as well. This is basically known as vascular disease, and vascular disease is a major risk factor for dementia. In fact, there's a whole other category of dementia called vascular dementia. All of these systems are connected, so you can get Alzheimer's disease from one of these major pathways or a combination of multiple of those pathways. And because there are these different ways of getting Alzheimer's disease, it's not just going to be a one single approach to cure every case of Alzheimer's disease. It's really going to take a holistic approach, an individual approach to figure out the lifestyle choices that that person with dementia is making, or even you as a caregiver right now are making that might be placing you at higher risk for the disease. The good news here, careblazer, is that of these 4 pathways, there are things that you can do right now to help change, make positive change in your life to reduce your risk. So you can start to make some of these healthy lifestyle choices, like getting a regular exercise routine, starting to eat healthier, starting to really focus and making it an important part of your life to lower your dementia caregiver stress, right? Stress is one of those things that's leading to increased risk for dementia. So I hope that you will join me in one of my upcoming live care classes where I'll give you free things that you can start doing right away to lower your caregiver stress that don't require a bunch of extra time or help. I really do hope you'll take that seriously and join me for that. I do hope that this video has given you a better understanding of just why it is so complicated to treat this disease and why it might seem so different between people who have Alzheimer's disease, because the pathway that led to that disease may be different for your loved one than it is for somebody else. Also, if you missed it, a few weeks ago I did a video on the Neuro Plan, which is the Scherzai's specific plan to lower your dementia risk and also to improve thinking in your loved one who might already have dementia. I've linked to that specific video below so that you can maybe take away some tidbits yourself. All right, Careblazer, that's it. I know that this video is a bit more technical than usual. I do hope that it was helpful for you. You can leave me any questions you have about dementia below any of my videos. I read them over and I try to do future videos based on what your questions are. And I hope to see many of you on the upcoming live Q&A so that I can answer your questions live. I will be back next week, as I always am, every Sunday with another video. Until then, Careblazer, keep up the good work.